If you're the mayor of the city of Charlotte, you could probably do a bunch of different things, but you need to be governor of the state. It's a little tougher, especially when the guy you used to work with is the vice president of the state. So I don't know. I guess part of it is also the Trump administration has so many positions they have even closer.
Okay, 6:15, 6:16. We'll call ourselves back to order. This time we'll start. Lisa.
You want to use this?
Hey.
You did a good job.
Oh, that might be good leaving me.
No. That's your job only. Okay, we're in the home stretch. Shouldn't take too much longer. We're in the enterprise funds. All of the enterprise funds are all self-funded. They're all doing well. A lot of this stuff is routine maintenance. I know some big price tag items, but they're able to cover the cost of these projects. The first two items for water and sewer, wastewater plant chlorine gas scrubber and a water treatment plant improvement project. Those will be funded by debt. We'll be issuing a bond issue in the fall. Probably look to close about December. So we'll be coming back to council sometime next year. There's a couple other projects in natural gas and airport that will be included in this bond issue. So you'll hear more about this as the year goes on, but those projects are included in the budget. Water is also asking for a part-time administrative assistant, 30 plus hours. They are, let's see, the next several items are all just different maintenance type items. The next large item are electrical upgrades, $105,000. We had a study done that made a lot of recommendations. And then we included some debt service on that revenue bond issue that we'll be issuing. We anticipate making possibly one payment next year. Any questions on any of the projects that are included? As was presented to council back in February in the rate model presentation, Russ Colbeth had indicated that we are saving up money for future capital needs. We're recommending a rate increase of 3.2% for both water and sewer. And we'll also have an increase based on the Consumer Price Index for administrative and non-construction fees of 1.91%. That's it for water. The electric fund. In the electric fund, we're recommending a part-time engineering technician. This in conjunction with about middle ways down, there's an item contracted services. We're having trouble filling the two positions that we have open. One is the design engineering manager, and another one is the engineering technician 2. We're contracting a lot of the duties that those two positions would usually be responsible for with outside help. And the part-time person is going to help do other smaller design projects and provide estimates just due to the backlog from not having those folks on staff. And we're still actively trying to recruit those positions. Don, correct me if I'm wrong.
Once the positions are filled, will it be a need for the part-time people then?
Once the positions are filled, part-time positions. Also included in their budget recommendation is training for their new LNG asset safety. The LNG is the plant that we're doing in natural gas. We'll be talking a little bit more about that upcoming on the next slide. A lot of their items, again, just like waters, are all maintenance type items. They are getting some new equipment, trench shoring equipment, Some additional money is being budgeted for uniforms and shoes, safety equipment, climbing gear. And they are doing some line extensions and just electrical type expansion items. It continues on to the next page. More replacing vault switches, just maintenance items. We're exploring AMI metering solutions. Those would be more electronic type meters to be able to read more efficiently. And fee schedule changes for the electric department include just a change in the renewable energy portfolio standards change. These changes are required by NCMPA and they're pass-through fees. North Carolina law requires that we charge so much for renewable energy, and we give that money. Who do we give that to? We give it to the power agency. Any questions on electric? Natural gas. They are adding a few people. The first is that gas pipeline inspector. This is to comply with new federal regulation requirements. It's to inspect work that we have done by contract crews. They are adding 3 other positions that are for the new liquefied natural gas peak shaving plant. This plant, you've already approved the construction of it, will be funded by the bond issue that we'll be doing in the fall. And then these technicians will be operating that plant. Let's see. We have included, of course, the money to be able to operate the plant, operations and maintenance, $31,000. Many system improvements, pipeline replacement, revenue-based expansions. We are still expanding this system into different areas that we can serve folks outside the city limits and inside. This continues on to the next page as well. And the change to the fee schedule there that you see is for federal regulations require that we inform all of our existing customers that excessive flow valves are available for installation. We don't charge for a residential service, but we do charge like the actual cost of the installation. So there's like not a connection fee, but they just pay for the actual pieces or parts and labor to install it. Any questions on natural gas? For these airport, there was one item that was recommended for delay. It was an awning cover for our mobile fuelers. I think right now we're parking them in the hangars.
We're fine, though. It could be
Okay.
Pete, if we're somebody's garage,
The next division is our solid waste department. We are increasing their budget to purchase additional loads of the solid waste and recycling carts. And the fee schedule change is one that was previously approved back in, I think, November. It's going to go up 50 cents, and this was to fund the community maintenance crew that is currently operating. Any questions on solid waste? And that was our last division. If there was a division that we didn't cover, it's because they had no new initiatives or no new projects that are coming up. They're just maintaining their existing service level, and they just have routine replacements or routine items in their budget. Any other questions on any other aspect of the budget that you might have on your mind?
I should have brought this up. But I want to go back, somewhere I read, they talked about what to do with the fast track.
I think that was the planning.
In the,
Removing the special meeting request for fast track. I think this is due to staffing issues. We just don't have the staff to be able to accommodate these types of requests.
yeah,
And used to, we've utilized the fast track in my tenure being here in the past 10 years. But used to, we had the land development committee, we had 2 council meetings, so sometimes in order to fast track, we would take it to land development and technical review committee parallel. And then we would take it to planning board, we would call for the public hearing before planning board, so it could go ahead and be heard at the next meeting. But we don't have that
so the way we
really
set up
luxury
now,
anymore because we don't have any way to fast track.
the way the city's set up now, the way we operate, it won't work. What we're gonna do if we have something we absolutely need to get through? I know we had, one last year. I mean, you didn't have to, but you really should. You have to.
When
You
this
have
is
to.
just for planning.
I'm sorry?
This is just for planning, it's not really building standards and
Yeah,
just zoning related matters. I don't wanna get confused
oh,
with
no,
permitting.
yeah, well, maybe that's what I'm doing, maybe I'm getting myself confused. But sometimes we're gonna have something come through that needs to be fast tracked. And I don't know what reason, but I know we have some, and sometimes if we've got something to fast track, it behooves us to do that because, and we don't have that many requests a year anyway, do we?
Sadly not.
Sir?
Or,
Sadly not.
Well, that's what I know, but and you explained to me it's from planning and not.
yeah, this
not
is
any-
just like your conditional district rezonings
Yeah, okay.
and things like that, it's
I
not
thought it
anything
included,
permit related.
it don't include the permit stuff.
Okay.
Well, I know sometimes I don't know when we will, but I'm sure at some point we're gonna need to have that somewhere.
What's the benefit of taking it out?
We can't use it.
So, I mean, but is there a cost?
Well, it is, it's an extra fee to fast track it, so it's in our planning fee schedule, and it kinda gives that perception that they have the option to fast track, when really, there's not really any capability of fast tracking.
Yeah, what I was concerned about is the fast track when it gets to the zoning, it goes to each department to fast track it out.
Yeah, the permitting.
I wouldn't want something to come in here that and again, we don't have that many, but I would hate to see something that we need to fast track and we can't do that anymore. But that's a different, you got me straight.
Okay.
That's not where it comes down to, where it goes around to each department for approval.
Mayor, I think it's fair to say that if there's a project that necessitates a expedited review, it can be done within the bounds of the law. And the departments, of course, are always willing to work on that. So this is not, by leaving this, is gonna change the ability to do that when it's absolutely necessary.
Well, that's what
But as
I was thinking, if
Councilmember
we're
Gordon-
gonna do away with it.
Right, well, I think Councilmember Gordon has pointed out that there's sometimes a dearth of these coming across, but when it's possible, staff has worked to make sure these things get heard as
I
quickly
agree
as
with you.
possible.
But if I read there and it says we're gonna do away with it, that means it's
You're
gone.
redoing the fee, you're getting rid of the
it's
fee.
gone.
You're getting rid of the fee.
I understand that.
We're fast tracking everything.
Be on the fast track.
Well, that's the reason I asked the question is, we doing away with it. That's why I asked the question.
We're doing
Now,
away
what
with
you
the
said,
fast track in the fee schedule.
I understand that. Now,
That is absolutely
I
correct, is
got
we're
it
getting rid of
all
the fee.
squared away.
It's not like our friends at DEQ that will offer a fast track option and then wait years to deal with your thing, so. It's not like that.
Well, next time you put it on there, we may not, if you just have to come in and ask about it. No, I understand, I'm not trying to be smart, but it said it was gonna be doing away, but I understand it's not when it comes to your zoning, et cetera. Because if you got a company in here, something's moving, you need it fast track, that's what I'm saying. We don't need to do away with that. No. Good. I'm straight now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, I got something I'd like to.
We had something last year that sure helped the city by us working on it, getting fast track. It helped us a great deal by working with these people. And sometimes you have to work with folks, for whatever reason. Sometimes you just gotta do a little something extra. Yes, sir, go ahead.
All right, going back to the police department budget and the fire department budget. And I know we're still in the planning phases, and we've looked at hiring some consultants to look at our needs. But when I look at the new police department building, about $8 million, I look at the a new fire admin building, about $2 million. We're looking at about $10 million total. This, in my opinion, needs to become a top priority for council this year. I'm not saying that we need to go out and borrow $10 million tomorrow, but we need to start looking at ways to fund this. Our police department is outdated, period. And if you don't believe me, take a trip to the lobby. The lobby is as uninviting as anything I've ever seen, and that is through no fault of our police officers. If you want to talk about the bathrooms that our police officers use, the restrooms at the QT convenience store at the corner of Morgan Mill Road and 74 are nicer than our police department bathrooms. And that is through no fault of theirs whatsoever. I'm not saying that our police department bathrooms are not clean. They are outdated. And we have got to make this a priority to start. If we're looking at in the future, if we're looking at a $10 million loan paid back over 25 years, and we're talking about building a new building that's supposed to last us 50 years, what does it matter if it takes us 25 years to pay it back? I mean, right now, you know how many designated visitor parking places there are for the police department? Now, I'm talking about designated visitor parking places. Anybody besides the two chiefs? And I know Mayor Pro Tem Duncan would know. Designated visitor parking for our police department is one space.
That's one more than I thought we had.
One space. One space. Now, I realize there's parking out on Franklin Street,
If you can get it.
but that's not designated for the police department. There's one visitor space designated for our police department. That's unacceptable in the times that we're in today. And I'm just saying that I'd really like council over the course of the next 6 months to a year and our city manager to look at a way that we can fund a new police department and a new fire admin building, because I just don't see how we can continue to put that on hold any longer. Especially being the size city that we are today, we can do better.
Well, my understanding is it's not on hold. When I say not on hold, I don't mean that we're fixing to build it tomorrow. But my understanding is it's not on hold as far as looking at it and planning in the future, because that's been talked about on all these other buildings. But I'll address the front lobby. If the chief down there ought to be able to figure out some way, if it's that bad, it couldn't cost that much money to fix that front lobby. I mean, I'll be glad to listen to that, but yeah, I agree with that.
Well, but I don't want to see us start patching it.
Stopgap.
I don't want to see us start patching it.
No, I don't either.
They need a new facility.
Well, we've already had the architect, we gave direction to get an architect to come and look at the buildings that we've got so that they can, tell us which is the best way to proceed on what the buildings are. So we are doing something. It is in process, so.
In the debt service for facility initiatives, this is a reservation for future debt service where we could build in that capacity to be able to afford debt service.
That's what I'm
on
saying. We
this
need to
type of
start
building.
looking hard at this.
Yes.
Okay. Anything
Any
else?
other questions?
Any other questions? Any comments?
Good job, Lisa, staff.
Yeah.
Thank you, and
Good budget, just
Well-
tweaked a little bit.
Mayor, and while we have the staff here, I want to say, I'm thankful that we have people who don't sit around at their desk all day thinking of ways to spend the money that was budgeted for them in the past year. or we wouldn't have this $3 million. That's
Right.
one. So I'm thankful for that, and I appreciate your efforts. I'd also like to thank the fact that Lisa and what you presented from these people doesn't call for a great deal of addition of manpower, which I'm totally opposed to. So thank you for that. And then thirdly, I will concur with Gary's comments, and I'm gonna direct it to what I think Lisa may have heard in the last council meeting about our community and how we feel about it. We can't do it quick enough, okay? These are problems. We got people out here in a building that somebody, and I'm not blaming, a former council or a former mayor or a former manager or a former somebody stuck somebody in a cheap building that he could get in a hurry, okay? It's time for that to be over. We need to project this city as being one that is truly progressive. And so we don't want to wait till we're dead and gone for somebody to do this. And we feel like it needs to be done now. So from the standpoint of, we're never going to finance this thing through, this budget and eliminate 10,000 or something. Come on. It's just won't work that way. So I do concur with what Gary says, and I think it's time.
Well, I think we'll get a lot of good information from this architect that's working on this other, and I feel like we're gonna get some good information on that. And if not, we will seek that. I agree with you. Absolutely. I don't disagree with you.
I concur. I think we need to make it a top priority too. Maybe put it on if there is a fast track.
Yeah, I just want to see it done in a reasonable amount of time. I'm not saying it has to be done tomorrow, but it needs to become a top priority, and the talks of this council as to how we're going to get it done, I'd say within the next 2 years. Not the next 5 years, but the next 2 years, because it needs to be done. And even our accreditors that have come down have told us in the exit meetings, your building is out of date.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how many times are they going to come down and keep telling us that before they take points off? Or I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, we've been told, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
All right.
Where we go from here, at the May 2nd council meeting, we'll present the budget message. We'll have made the adjustments that you requested tonight. We'll present the balanced budget. We'll also call for the public hearing, which will be on June 6th at the regular council meeting. We would have the public hearing and then ask for adoption right after, if that is okay with all of you.
Council, have any other questions, comments?
It's gonna be a balanced budget? Is there gonna be a tax, or a proposed tax increase?
No, ma'am.
We've got that.
No, ma'am.
I just wanna make sure.
Any other comment, any question? Go ahead.
Question, if, as Lisa generally outlined, we can find some additional money, are there any other positions or pieces of equipment or things of that nature that the board would like us to particularly take a look at trying to fund?
Well,
And put it into the proposal?
I think the crime scene technician is important. If there's a way to fund it, a way to find some extra money, I think that's important. They need that.
Would that be the consensus?
Well, again, when you have the police chief telling you don't have anywhere to store the evidence and the other stuff that crime scene investigators come up with, it sometimes seems as though it's, we.
And Freddie already said that he was not likely to add people.
I think we need to get a place for them to work and a place for them to store and securely, and, I like getting those things, and then.
Actually, I think the process is moving along quite well. I know the architect has, he's been finalized. He's been working from the old Inquiry Journal building to the present fire and police department to the senior citizen building, and with pretty much understanding that a new police headquarters will be coming forth at some point in time.
So we are moving forward, as I said earlier. I mean, we are moving forward. We're not sitting around doing nothing. So this is something that we've all been working on.
I'll ask Najib this, how we covered, what are we hearing from the state on our concrete jungle across the road, as I call it?
We actually now have a draft brownfields agreement that we are working on the final portions of, and once that is squared away, which should be shortly, we will be able to start the process of having public hearings set, and there will be a light at the end of this tunnel. So we are anticipating that this could be done by some point in the summertime, early summer.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody got any comments or
My
questions?
only comment would be, when you asked about any extra money, is to look at the equipment that has been deferred or delayed, such as not just with the fire department, but with IT, some of that equipment that, you know, we could, if we have some extra money, we can go ahead and use. I mean, if we're out of compliance with some of the things, or if there's something that's better that we need, then we need to look at funding that equipment.
Yeah, anything we can do now, we'll have to do next time, if we can do it. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, thank you, Lisa, for your hard work. All you ladies and gentlemen that involved, thank y'all for coming tonight. Thank you for your hard work through the year. We appreciate what y'all do. We want you to know that. I know there's a lot of hard work, and I know you get aggravated at times, and I can understand that. Well, thank you very much for coming tonight and putting up with us. Anything else? Hearing none, have a motion to
So move.
have a motion to have a second. Second. All in favor? We adjourn.